Dodge City is the county seat of Ford County, Kansas, United States, named after nearby Fort Dodge. The city is famous in American culture for its history as a wild frontier town of the Old West. As of the 2010 census, the city population was 27,340. History. Fort Man was the first settlement of non-indigenous people in the area that became Dodge City, built by civilians in 1847 to provide protection for travelers on the Santa Fe Trail. Fort Man collapsed in 1848 after an Indian attack. In 1850, the U.S. Army arrived to provide protection in the region and constructed Fort Atkinson on the old Fort Man site. The Army abandoned Fort Atkinson in 1853. Military forces on the Santa Fe Trail were re-established farther north and east at Fort Land in 1859, but the area remained vacant around what would become Dodge City until the end of the Civil War. In April 1865, the Indian Wars in the West began heating up, and the Army constructed Fort Dodge to assist Fort Land in providing protection on the Santa Fe Trail. Fort Dodge remained in operation until 1882. The town of Dodge City can trace its origins to 1871 when rancher Henry J. Sittler built a sod house west of Fort Dodge to oversee his cattle operations in the region. Conveniently located near the Santa Fe Trail and Arkansas River, and Sittler's house quickly became a stopping point for travelers. Others saw the commercial potential of the region, with the Santa Fe Railroad rapidly approaching from the east. In 1872, Dodge City was staked out on the 100th meridian and the legal western boundary of the Fort Dodge Reservation. The town's site was platted and George M. Hoover established the first bar in a town to serve thirsty soldiers from Fort Dodge. The railroad arrived in September to find a town ready and waiting for business. The early settlers in Dodge City traded in buffalo bones and hides and provided a civilian community for Fort Dodge. However, with the arrival of the railroad, Dodge City soon became involved in the cattle trade. The idea of driving Texas Longhorn cattle from Texas to railheads in Kansas originated in the late 1850s but was cut short by the Civil War. In 1866, the first Texas cattle started arriving in Baxter Springs in southeastern Kansas by way of the Shawnee Trail. However, Texas Longhorn cattle carried a tick that spread splenic fever, known locally as Texas fever, among other breeds of cattle. Alarmed Kansas farmers persuaded the Kansas state legislature to establish a quarantine line in central Kansas. The quarantine prohibited Texas Longhorns from the heavily settled eastern portion of the state. With the cattle trade forced west, Texas Longhorns began moving north along the Chisholm Trail. In 1867, the main cow town was Abilene, Kansas. Profits were high, and other towns quickly joined in the cattle boom. Newton in 1871, Ellsworth in 1872, and Wichita in 1872. However, in 1876 the Kansas state legislature responded to pressure from farmers settling in central Kansas and once again shifted the quarantine line westward, which essentially eliminated Abilene and the other cow towns from the cattle trade. With no place else to go, Dodge City suddenly became the queen of the cow towns. A new route known as the Great Western Cattle Trail, a western trail, branched off from the Chisholm Trail to lead cattle into Dodge City. Dodge City became a boom town, with thousands of cattle passing annually through its stockyards. The peak years of the cattle trade in Dodge City were from 1883 to 1884, and during that time the town grew tremendously. In 1880, Dodge City got a new competitor for the cattle trade from the border town of Caldwell. For a few years, the competition between the towns was fierce, but there were enough cattle for both towns. towns to prosper. Nevertheless, it was Dodge City that became famous, and no town could match Dodge City's reputation as a true frontier settlement of the Old West. Dodge City had more famous gunfighters working at one time or another than any other town in the West, many of whom participated in the Dodge City War of 1883. It also boasted the usual array of saloons, gambling halls, and brothels, including the famous Long Branch Saloon and China Doll Brothel. For a time in 1884, Dodge City even had a bullfighting ring where Mexican bullfighters would put on a show with specially chosen longhorn bulls. As more agricultural settlers moved into western Kansas, pressure increased on the Kansas state legislature to do something about splenic fever. Consequently, in 1885 the quarantine line was extended across the state and the Western Trail was all but shut down. By 1886, the cowboys, saloon keepers, gamblers, and brothel owners moved west to greener pastures, and Dodge City became a sleepy little town much like other communities in western Kansas. Geography. Dodge City is located at 37.75972 degrees north, 100.01833 degrees west, 37.75972 minus 100.01833 at an elevation of 2,493 feet. It lies on the Arkansas River in the High Plains region of the Great Plains. The city sits above one of the world's largest underground water systems, the Ogallala Aquifer, and is 25 miles from the eastern edge of the Hugoton natural gas area. Located at the intersection of U.S. routes 50, 56 and 283 in southwestern Kansas, Dodge City is 151 miles west of Wichita, 199 miles northeast of Amarillo, and 301 miles southeast of Denver. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 14.55 square miles, of which 14.44 square miles is land and 0.11 square miles is water. Climate. Dodge City lies at the intersection of North America's semi-arid and humid subtropical climate zones, with hot summers, highly variable winters, both warm and very cold periods, and low to moderate humidity and precipitation throughout the year. It is part of USDA Hardiness Zone 6B. Areas to the west are drier and more strongly semi-arid. Severe weather, including tornadoes, is common in the area, especially in the spring months. Dodge City is often cited as the windiest city in the United States with an average speed of 13.9 miles per hour, which results in occasional blizzards in the winter, even when snowfall does not accumulate much. On average, January is the coldest month, July is the hottest month, and June is the wettest month. The normal annual mean temperature in Dodge City is 55.4 degrees Fahrenheit, while the normal monthly daily average temperature ranges from 32.2 degrees Fahrenheit in January to 79.6 degrees Fahrenheit in July. The high temperature reaches or exceeds 90 degrees Fahrenheit an average of 67 days a year and reaches or exceeds 100 degrees Fahrenheit an average of 13 days a year. The last year that failed to reach 100 degrees Fahrenheit was 1958. The minimum temperature falls to below 0 degrees Fahrenheit an average of 3.0 days a year. The highest officially recorded temperature was 111 degrees Fahrenheit on June 27, 2012, while the lowest temperature officially recorded was -26 degrees Fahrenheit on February 12, 1899. The record cold daily maximum is -13 degrees Fahrenheit on January 13, 1875. and conversely, the record warm daily minimum is 81 degrees Fahrenheit last set July 12, 1978. Dodge City receives an annual average of 21.6 inches in precipitation, with the largest share being received from May through August. Annual precipitation has historically ranged from 9.97 in 1956 to 34.29 in 1944. There are, on average, 77 days of measurable precipitation each year. Snowfall averages 21.1 inches per season, although snowfall has historically ranged from 0.2 in 1903-04 to 61.3 in 1992-93. Measurable snowfall occurs an average of 14 days a year, with at least an inch of snow being received on 6 of those days. Snow depth of at least an inch occurs an average of 19 days a year. The average window for overnight freezes is October 17 through April 21, allowing a growing season of 178 days. Demographics. 2010 census. As of the 2010 United States Census, there were 27,340 people, 8,777 households, and 6,241 families residing in the city. The population density was 1,893.6 people per square mile. There were 9,378 housing units at an average density of 649.5 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 72.5% white, 2.5% African American, 1.1% American Indian, 1.6% Asian, 0.2% Pacific Islander, 19.3% from other races, and 2.9% from 2 or more races. Hispanics and Latinos of any race were 57.5% of the population. There were 8,777 households, of which 40.3% had children under the age of 18 living with them. 51.5% were married couples living together. 13.0% had a female householder with no husband present. 6.6% had a male householder with no wife present, and 28.9% were non-families. 22.7% of all households were made up of individuals, and 8.3% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 3.05, and the average family size was 3.60. The median age in the city was 28.9 years. 31.8% of residents were under the age of 18, 11.8% were between the ages of 18 and 24, 27.8% were from 25 to 44, 19.6% were from 45 to 64, and 8.9% were 65 years of age or older. The gender makeup of the city was 51.4% male and 48.6% female. The median income for a household was $43,994, and the median income for a family was $49,957. Males had a median income of $31,400 versus $27,884 for females. The per capita income for the city was $18,350. About 16.7% of families and 19.0% of the population were below the poverty line, including 28.7% of those under age 18 and 8.1% of those age 65 or over. Economy. Meatpacking is the primary industry in Dodge City. Cargill Meat Solutions and National Beef both operate large facilities in the city. The city also hosts farm implement manufacturing and serves as a supply center for area agriculture. Livestock raising is a major activity, while wheat and sorghum are the area's main crops. In addition, a local tourism industry, including a casino resort, has developed to capitalize on Dodge City's history as an Old West cowtown. The service sector accounts for much of the rest of the local economy. As of 2010, 70.9% of the population over the age of 16 was in the labor force, 0.3% was in the armed forces, and 70.5% was in the civilian labor force, with 66.9% being employed and 3.6% unemployed. The composition, by occupation, of the employed civilian labor force was 23.3% in management, business, science, and arts, 16.4% in sales and office occupations, 10.9% in service occupations, 15.2% in natural resources, construction and maintenance, 34.2% in production, transportation, and material moving. The three industries employing the largest percentages of the working civilian labor force were manufacturing, educational services, healthcare and social assistance, and retail trade. The cost of living in Dodge City is relatively low compared to a U.S. average of 100. The cost of living index for the city is 79.3. As of 2010, the median home value in the city was $83,300. The median selected monthly owner cost was $1,013 for housing units with a mortgage and $450 for those without, and the median gross rent was $571. Top employers: Cargill Meat Solutions and National Beef are the two largest employers. Other major employers include local government, schools, retail stores, and healthcare providers. Government. Dodge City is a city of the first class with a commission-manager form of government. The City Commission consists of 5 members who serve either 2-year or 4-year terms depending on the number of votes they receive. Every year, the Commission selects one commissioner to serve as mayor and another to serve as vice mayor. The Commission meets on the first and third Monday of each month. Appointed by the Commission, the City Manager leads the city administration, executes the Commission's policies, and develops operational programs to meet the city's needs. As the county seat, Dodge City is the administrative center of Ford County. The county courthouse is located downtown, and all departments of the county government base their operations in the city. Dodge City lies within Kansas's 1st U.S. congressional district. For the purposes of representation in the Kansas legislature, the city is located in the 38th District of the Kansas Senate and the 115th and 119th Districts of the Kansas House of Representatives. Education. Primary and secondary education. Dodge City Public Schools serves over 6,000 students and operates 14 schools in the city, including 1 early childhood center, 8 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, 1 high school, and 1 alternative school. The Roman Catholic Diocese of Dodge City oversees 1 Catholic school in the city, Sacred Heart Cathedral School. Colleges and universities. Dodge City Community College, a 2-year public college with approximately 2,000 students, is located in the northwestern part of the city. From 1952 to 1993, Dodge City was also home to St. Mary of the Plains College, a private, 4-year Catholic liberal arts college. Newman University, a Catholic university based in Wichita, now operates a branch branch campus on St. Mary of the Plains former grounds. Libraries. Dodge City Public Library, located north of downtown, is the city's main library. A member of the Southwest Kansas Library System, it has a collection of approximately 123,000 volumes, and it circulates more than 189,000 items annually. It was founded as a Carnegie Library in 1905 and moved to its current facility in 1981. The library offers several services to the public, including computer classes, public internet access, and programs for children and adults. Other libraries in the city include the DCCC Library, which holds more than 30,000 volumes and serves as a federal depository library, and the Kansas Heritage Center, a non-profit resource center and research library operated by Dodge City Public Schools dedicated to the history of Kansas, the Great Plains, and the Old West. Infrastructure. Transportation. Originally a stop on the Santa Fe Trail, Dodge City was later located on the National Old Trails Road, also known as the Ocean-to-Ocean Highway, which followed the trail's path in western Kansas upon its establishment in 1912. Currently, 4 U.S. highways meet in Dodge City: U.S. Route 50, U.S. Route 56, U.S. Route 283, and U.S. Route 400. U.S. 50, an east-west route, runs through the northern part of the city. U.S. 400, which also runs east-west, runs through the southern part of the city. U.S. 56, an east-west route, and U.S. 283, a north-south route, run concurrently around the city's southern and eastern fringe. A U.S. 50 business route runs concurrently with U.S. 56, U.S. 283, and U.S. 400 at different points through the southern part and around the eastern part of the city. Bus service is provided daily eastward towards Wichita, Kansas and westward towards Pueblo, Colorado by Beeline Express. Dodge City Regional Airport is located approximately 2 miles east of the city. Used primarily for general aviation, it hosts one commercial airline with daily flights to Denver, Colorado and Liberal Case. 3 railroads serve Dodge City: the La Junta subdivision of the BNSF Railway, which runs east-west; the main line of the Cimarron Valley Railroad, of which Dodge City is the northeastern terminus; and the Boot Hill and Western Railway, of which the city is the northwestern terminus. Using the BNSF trackage, Amtrak provides passenger rail service on its Southwest Chief Line between Chicago and Los Angeles. Amtrak's Dodge City Station is located downtown. Utilities. The Utilities Division of the city government's Public Works Department operates and maintains the city's water and wastewater distribution systems. The department's Sanitation Division provides trash pickup. Operations Management International, Inc., a private contractor, provides wastewater treatment, pumping the city's wastewater to treatment holding ponds 12 miles south of the city. The Victory Electric Cooperative Association, Inc., part of the Mid-Kansas Electric Company, delivers electricity to the city. Local residents primarily use natural gas for heating fuel. Natural gas service is provided by Black Hills Energy. Health care. The Western Plains Medical Complex is the sole hospital in Dodge City, a 100-bed hospital accredited by the Joint Commission. It serves as a referral center for southwestern Kansas. Media. The Dodge City Daily Globe is the city's daily newspaper with a circulation of approximately 7,000 copies. In addition, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Dodge City publishes a weekly newspaper, the Southwest Kansas Catholic. formerly known as the Southwest Kansas Register. The High Plains Journal, a weekly trade journal covering regional agricultural news, is also published in the city. Along with Garden City, Dodge City is a center of broadcast media for southwestern Kansas. 2 AM radio stations, 7 FM radio stations, and 4 television stations are licensed to and/or broadcast from the area. Dodge City is located in the Wichita-Hutchinson, Kansas television market. The 4 stations that broadcast from the city include 1 CBS and 1 Fox network affiliate, both of which are satellite stations of the respective affiliates. In Wichita has satellite station of Smoky Hills Public Television, the PBS member network covering western Kansas, and KDDCLD, a sister station of KDGLLD in Sublette, Kansas. Parks and Recreation. The city's Parks and Recreation Department maintains 21 parks in the city. The largest is Wright Park, located immediately south of downtown and home to the Dodge City Zoo. Legends Park, in the northern part of the city, is a 4-diamond, tournament-level baseball and softball complex that hosts both youth and adult league games. The city also maintains the St. Mary Soccer Complex, which includes 6 full-size gamepads and 3 junior-sized fields, and the municipal pool. There are 2 golf courses in the city, 1 public and 1 private. Murray Hills Municipal Golf Course. The public course is an 18-hole course built in 1974 and redesigned in 1990. It includes a full-service pro shop, driving range, and putting green. Dodge City Country Club. The private course is an 18-hole course built in 1916 and expanded in 1982.